We're still riding high of our unbeaten start to the Premier League season. However, we do find ourselves needing a win at home against Paris Saint-Germain in our group of death Champions League thing. I tried that 5 times. I'm not going to redo it. I'm just stumbling over the words now. Hello and welcome to part 171 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we are away against Manchester City in the Premier League and then at home against Paris Saint-Germain. See, I can say it properly, in the Champions League. Since you were last with me, we are still unbeaten in the Premier League. In fact, we've won every Premier League game since the last episode, thus leaving us top of said Premier League. Unbelievably, level on points with West Ham, who are having another one of their absolutely incredible starts to the season. This is the same West Ham who are consistently right up there in the fight at the start of the season and haven't won the Premier League in my lifetime. They are like the opposite of us. We start badly and then storm the division. They start really well and then I just don't know what they do. Sell their players at Christmas? What goes on at West Ham? Nobody knows. We also managed to pick up a very important draw away against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. So 3 games in, this is what our group looks like. We can go top of the group with a win over Paris Saint-Germain as long as Benfica beat Ajax. No, as long as Ajax beat Benfica at the same time. I mean, it's the hardest group you'll ever see. We need to win all our games in it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So, first up, Manchester City. And we are having a few selection problems. Akamo is injured, leaving us with only Mira and Sakwa as fit strikers. Djuric is suspended because he did a nutcase, just a crazy nutcase tackle and got a 3-match suspension. And also Costa has picked up a little bit of a knock as well. He should be back in contention for Paris Saint-Germain. So we're going with Powell in goal, a back four of Candamil, Beron, Lee and Meyer. Cristiano and Alves in midfield, Zupancic out on that left wing with Manu and Flager supporting Mira up front. Mira now has a couple of goals to his name this season. He is finally starting to come into some form. Why is the top of my head being cut off? I'm moving myself down. There we go. I've never done that mid-video before. I feel like I've let you behind the curtain. I've showed you some of the illusion. I'm not really sat in the game. It's just a green screen. Those of you who were watching 3 years ago when I didn't know how to use it and literally just filmed the green screen, you knew. Those of you who are new, you might want to go and check out some of those videos. There's one season of a Football Manager save when I got a green screen for Christmas, didn't know how to use it, but had already set it up behind me. So rather than me filming myself in front of whatever was behind me in my garage at the time, I was filming myself and you could just see a green sheet behind me in the little square at the bottom of the screen. I don't know how anyone ever subscribed to my channel early on. It's a different world now. Imagine a newbie trying to do that now. You just wouldn't look twice. Thank goodness I was here early. Yikes. Right, let's go beat Manchester City. I don't know how good they are anymore. They're weird. They have their very good seasons and now they're having a poor start to this one. We're 10 points ahead of them at the moment, but they did win the league last year, so they're obviously not going to be pushovers. Flager is in, and that's his 8th goal of the season already. I tell you what, £53 million for him, I think we spent. Absolute bargain. He is an absolute superstar out on that right-hand side. If we can get our hands on a left winger as good as he is on the right wing, we are going to be absolutely laughing. But he is just an absolute superstar. He has come in and he's been brilliant. What's that? 8 goals from 10 games? Insane. Zupancic and Manu's there, and that's Manu's first goal of the season. Only 15 minutes on the clock, and we're 2-0 up away against defending champions Manchester City. And Manu is just the man who he'll just never give his place up in this team. Every time you think we've replaced him or changed the system so he doesn't fit into it or done something that means Manu should just give up and go home, he just keeps getting better and better and turning up with very important goals. When he first signed, some people said he might be this year's new who. He's starting to show signs that he might be, because Nuhu's another one who, despite legendary status for Nuneaton last year, we did try and replace him like 4 times. Zupancic, though, has just scored our 3rd with a lovely header. He's coming in off that left wing, and all of a sudden, 25 minutes in, we're 3-0 up against Manchester City now, and I don't understand what's going on, and I don't think they know what's hit them either. There's one of my England boys, Nick's, trying to trying to ruin my day, but one of my other England boys, Powell, solved the problem for me and made the save, which is splendid. There's another one of my England boys, Williams, in their team as well. So they've got 2 England internationals. Is that North as well? I thought he played for Leicester. I'm sure he was at Leicester. He must have gone to play for Manchester City weirdly late in his career because he'd been at Leicester for years. Baron now to Candemill. Candemill charging up the left-hand side, actually cutting inside of Zupancic, overloading the left-hand side, and there's Flager to make it 4-0 before half-time against the defending champions. This feels like one of those games we're going to remember for many, many years. It feels like the day where we stopped being the new Leicester and became a proper top-level club. I know we've won the Premier League before, but if we can go and beat Paris Saint-Germain now, this is the episode. What number is it? Episode 171. If we also go on and beat Paris Saint-Germain in this episode, we will always remember that it was episode 171 where we realised, yeah, we're nearly there now. We're going to have this wrapped up before episode 200. However, if we somehow throw this 4-0 lead away and then get knocked out of the Champions League again and then get banned from it next year because of financial problems, then maybe we'll need another 50 episodes yet. Who knows? Kavanagh North has just come on, so he obviously has signed for Manchester City in his 30s, which is a weird move all round. I guess for him it was an easy payday, but it's weird that City would want to sign him at the age that he's at. We're going to bring Yamin on for Cristiano. I'm just looking at fitness levels, really. Zupancic, we'll take him off and bring on Sakwa on that left-hand side. We're going to make him an inside forward, just to try and get him up there supporting Mira a little bit more. Mira, although, everybody's had a decent game, I've not really seen anything of Mira today, and I'd love him to get a goal, to make it 5. Not that I'm greedy or anything, but I'd like a 5th goal. I want my Brazilian wonder kid to score. City are in here, though, and it's 4-1. And Lazio, anyone? They even wear the same kits. Let's not worry. It isn't going to happen. It won't happen again. We'll be fine. It's a decent finish, although Powell shouldn't be getting beaten at the near post like that. Saidi's actually been in the side for like the last half dozen games or so. Basically my system is I give them half dozen games or so until the other one moans that they're not getting games, then I swap them over. Right, who is Bogarski? Is he one of the ones we signed in the summer? 5-star potential Serbian defensive midfielder. I'm tempted to bring him on for Manu and drop him back into a holding. This is... What are you doing now, Kev? Tactics. Just stick him in there like that. In fact, not even him. Stick Alves there. What sort of midfielder is Bogarski? Central midfielder. On support. And then we can have him, for the first time in his career, playing in his actual natural position as a deep line playmaker, but sat in front of the defence as a defensive midfielder. So there you go, a debut for Bogarski as well. What a day. What a time to be alive. Hopefully we can take all this joy and excitement into the into the Paris Saint-Germain game. It is quite exciting actually to have a couple of our teenagers on the bench today. Not only have we got Bogarski, Fedra, who is a striker, is down on the bench there as well. We've got a couple of others who are really starting to push for first team spots. We already know about Aleph. It always just sounds like I'm saying Alice with a lisp. I'm not. It's Aleph or Alet. It's Aleph now. It's been Aleph for long enough. I can't say 4 after Aleph. Oh, I wish I could go. I might go back to not being able to say my THs. That's better than doing TH when it should be F, which is what I do now some of the time. I just need to learn to speak. City are in again. It doesn't really matter at this stage. There you go. Bogarski is going to do a back heel on the edge of the penalty area against the defending champions in the last minute. That's something that... I'm all for a bit of youthful exuberance, but maybe don't do that again, ever, for the rest of your career. That was your one time you get to try that. Right, let's... the home fans' top 3 players for October. I've never seen this before. This is awesome. Flager, Cristiano, Lee. No one's going to argue. Let's go play Paris Saint-Germain. Couple of changes for the Paris Saint-Germain. Then Costa, as speculated, is fit to come back into the team. So he does. Yamin also coming into the midfield as well. Just in the interests of keeping the midfield fresh. We've got 4 world-class central midfielders. I rotate them a lot. This time Alves sits out. Juric, who obviously not suspended for the Champions League, but is on loan at us from Paris Saint-Germain. And because we've got the 3 league games and then the 2 Paris Saint-Germain games, he's effectively missing 5 games in a row off the back of getting sent off against Wolves. So he's a silly goose because we're learning to live without him. Zupancic has played out there a couple of times. Mira did a couple of times before Akemo got injured as well. And we do have a slight issue in this match because we don't have a backup striker at all. If anything happens to Mira, it's going to be Lee Bacon who comes on to play up front, who came through our youth team a few years ago. Has got 7 conference goals to his name. Probably not the man to go and take on Paris Saint-Germain though. Akemo injured. Sakwa not part of the Champions League squad because I'm a silly bear. Can we really say I expect nothing but a win against Paris Saint-Germain? I want you to pick up where you left off last time. That seems more reasonable. We've just hammered Manchester City, so it's not out of the realms of possibility that we could come and do the same thing to Paris Saint-Germain now. They're probably a better team, but, you know, we can give it a go. Yeeks. It looks like Benfica have already beaten Ajax earlier in the day, or are we... There's no games going on at the moment. Are we playing on a different day? What's happening? I know they have early kickoffs sometimes in the Champions League, but with no other matches going on right now, I don't understand. We must just be having a weird kickoff time that no one else is having. Right, Candemil with the throw. It's intercepted by PSG though, and they are charging down at right hand side. But Yamin, fresh legs, see, in there to intercept. And now Candemil gets a real deep cross for Flager, and it's off the post. But Zupancic picks up the scraps, and Mira couldn't direct his header goalwards. So Benfica have already beaten Ajax. So if we do beat PSG here, we'll go level on points with Benfica, and with 2 games to go and us having played them twice, Paris Saint-Germain wouldn't be in the qualification spots, which would be possibly the most sensational outcome of all of this group if PSG end up in the Europa League. Right, let's passionately say, time for everyone to dig in. Obviously, all of that is a big if, because we do need to grab that goal and try and win the match. If we don't win the match, it's us who are sat there just outside the qualification spots. Although, to be fair, being just 1 point off the pace, having played Paris Saint-Germain twice, isn't a bad result either. Mira is in, but it's straight at their keeper, but we do have a corner. Apparently not a good enough corner for us to watch, though, but now we've won another one, and it's Mayer going over to take. Is this going to be the one where we make the breakthrough? We've dominated this game. Looking at those stats, we do deserve a goal. We just need to find somewhere to conjure it up from. Deep cross, aimed at whoever that was aimed for. Mira, I think that is. Costa shoots. I thought he'd shot wide, but it's obviously deflected out for a corner. Now Mayer to take the corner, and it's held by their keeper. Right, next highlight. They are coming thick and fast. We're still less than 5 minutes into this second half. And it is with Lee to Flager, who's come deep and infield to pick this up. Mayer stayed wide of him, so he's still there as an overlap option. Yamin plays it out looking for Zupancic, falls to Cristiano, who shoots from range, and we have yet another corner. It's our 7th corner of the game, but I think at least 5 of them have come in this 4-minute spell at the start of the second half. It really needs to end with a goal, but PSG get the ball clear again, and they have weathered the storm there, but we are 10 shots ahead of them at the moment in this match. We've got to make the breakthrough. You've got to score while you're controlling the game, and that's definitely what we've been doing at the start of this second half. Zupancic, cross comes in to Flager. What a goal! His 10th goal of the season already, and that one, oh, do they look pretty when they go off both posts? That was absolutely stunning. Look at the state of this. Candemil to Zupancic. Zupancic with a lovely ball across to Flager. And that was stupendous. Home 1, Paris Saint-Germain 0, 56 minutes. And there you go. As it stands, we're up to 2nd in the group. And I think the Champions League works on goal difference. So if we were to grab a 2nd, I think we would end up top of the group. Obviously, still with 2 games to go. There's nothing is being settled just yet. It's very tight at the top of this group. Flager cross to Mira. Mira does score though, and it's 2-0. And now we are turning our period of dominance into some goals. 15 minutes into the second half, Holme 2, Paris Saint-Germain 0. That was lovely from all involved. Flager released by Costa down this right-hand side and then made it very, very easy for Mira. And that's 2 goals in 5 minutes, and we are fully in control of this game now. Let's just not mess up. Clearly, Champions League doesn't work on goal difference, though, because Benfica have beaten us already. And despite us having a better goal difference, Benfica's still ahead of us in the group. So I think we do still have to play Benfica at home. That might even be our next game. Benfica at home. Then I think we finish things off with Ajax away. I think we've already played Ajax at home, but Ajax clearly struggling a little bit against 3 very strong teams in this group. Although obviously you would never write Ajax off because they're Ajax. But you know how Ajax are. They kind of come in waves. Sometimes they're awesome, and then they sell that bunch of wonder kids, and then they have to rebuild for a year or 2 while they wait for the next lot to come through. We've given away a penalty here, I think. We have given away a penalty, and now we need a save from Powell. Come on, justify your existence, Saidi. Back in for the next game. That's close to an immediate reply from PSG. It's 3 minutes after our goal, still nearly half, or probably by the time you've added time on, still half an hour of this left. Still very much all to play for, and we've broken Costa. If we were still 2-0 up, I'd bring Alves on, but I think in the circumstances we bring Mano on here. I don't think we can drop back to an unfamiliar formation at this stage of the game. Cristiano can come off for Alves. At least then we still get Alves into that midfield to be Mr. Tackleman. And I think it's time to show some passion. 10 minutes of passion in the last 15 minutes of the game. We've got some nervous players out there. Can we waste some time with another substitution? Who have we got on the bench? Cesar Sanz is the only one really who I'd want to bring on in this situation. I don't really want to change my centre-backs in these circumstances. So I think we're going to stick with what we've got. I hope I've not broken Costa too much by rushing him back for this game. It's a different injury to the one he was out with before. It was a calf strain that kept him out of the Man City game, and now he's got a groin injury. So hopefully it's nothing too serious, but at least it's a position we have got some decent cover with Manu. We've still got Mendes knocking around in the squad as well, who can play in the Premier League. And now it's Manu on the break. Last minute of the game, Flager plays it into Mira. Zupancic is in. Yamin's in as well. They were lined up ready to tuck that one away. And it's Yamin who does grab the goal with the assist from Mira. And with what must be the last attack of the game, it's Holme 3, Paris Saint-Germain 1. And you've got to say, we've deserved both of these wins in this episode, and they are wins against the 2 richest teams in world football, arguably the 2 most dominant teams of this entire series so far, and we've just comfortably beaten them both in the space of 4 days. Holme Football Club have arrived as a European superpower, and the ultimate irony, it's all thanks to a winger. Flager is a superstar. Right, we will be back tomorrow with Ajax. Probably Ajax and West Ham, because West Ham is likely to be a top of the table clash, unless one of us falls off the pace by then. But on that, West Ham have lost their first game, so it might end up being Ajax and Arsenal if West Ham lose a couple more times. But I'm not going to show you the Benfica game, despite the fact that it's 2 games away. We've got to keep the season progressing, so we'll come back with Ajax, where I still think we'll need to beat Ajax to qualify. It's so tight at the top of this group. So if we're playing Benfica next, PSG playing Ajax, we could still win the group or not even get in the Europa League. It's that kind of group. But that will be tomorrow's video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.